Ladies and gentlemen, we interrupt your regularly scheduled programming to bring you this special bulletin. There's a rather interesting trend going on as of late where censorship is bad unless it's against someone I don't like. Censorship is good unless it's against me. And that's not really how that should work. You should be either all against it or, well, to be blunt, shut your mouth. Now, you might think you know what I'm talking about, but no, this has to do with the EA buyout and this lovely little article from The Gamer, because now all of a sudden, with the EA buyout, now they're worried about video games being censored because it's their ideology that's assuming to be under attack. Nothing's actually happened yet. Not like, actual evidence of video games being censored because they're just too much gooner bait, right? Gamer says queer games are under attack from every angle. Really? You sure it's queer games and not shit games? There's a big difference there. Because I'm pretty sure, I'm almost positive, in the entertainment industry, if you cater to your audience will buy it. If you try to cater to an audience that isn't interested, or that's not the right term. If you try to market a queer game to an audience that just isn't interested in that game, well, that's not censorship. That's not bigotry. That's not hatred. That's just lack of interest. Affects the bottom line. Affects the green. It's the green. It's the green you need. I do love that song. Anyway, I'm not going to sing the whole thing. Join me on a live stream. I'll sing it. Anyway, tangent number one. Only thing the company cares about, or should care about, is the bottom line. If the game makes money, make more of that style of games. If your queer games, find your audience, set your budget, and you'll make all the money in the world. But hey, let's get on with the article. The biggest and arguably most upsetting gaming news of the month is EA making a deal to be acquired by a group of 3 companies for $55 billion. Well, it depends on who you ask on that one. Are these 3 companies going to clean house Tessa? Are they going to get the activist developers out of there and maybe go down the road of the meritocracy and put people who know what the hell they are doing and want to pander to the actual audience instead of this make-believe modern audience that, no matter how hard you try, doesn't exist, or they just don't show up for your product. No matter how much you try to get on your knees and, well, let's say worship them. Maybe a little fluffing going on. This in itself wouldn't be the worst news in the world. Well, it's really not even close. Except that those 3 companies are PIF, Silver Lake, and Affinity Partners. PIF is the private investment fund based in Saudi Arabia. Clutch my pearls. Which already owns stake in Nintendo, Take-Two Interactive, Capcom, and Embracer Group. So they already have their hands in the video game industry. Is Take-Two Interactive censoring their games, taking your little queer-coded snippets, characters, storylines out of those games? What about Nintendo? Are they doing that, actively doing it, where this type of storytelling characters was there before and now it is no longer there? If the answer is no, then what are you worried about? The PIF has previously been accused of sports washing. Oh, they're spending oodles and oodles of money to get sports and sports entertainment over to Saudi Arabia in order to generate entertainment and revenue for their country. But they're sports washing. If you don't like it, don't go over there. If you don't like it, don't watch it. Don't cater to them. Vote with your wallet. Personally, I don't watch any of it anyway, so how much of a stake do I have in whether it succeeds or not? Using esports competitions and sporting events as a way to improve its public perception, perhaps. Or they want to be entertained and they're not getting all that great entertainment over there, so they have to spend oodles and oodles and oodles of money to get the entertainers to come over there so they can see it live. Did anybody ever think about that? Maybe, I do wonder, do they even care? Does the royal family genuinely give 2 shits or a fuck what anyone else thinks of them because they are Scrooge McDuck. They have all the money, whether it's blood money, oil money, or whatever you want to call it. It's all the money. And of course, you'll hear some people say that they treat their people like caca. It is what it is. But do you genuinely think they care about their public perception? I do wonder about that. Affinity Partners is owned by Jared Kushner, son-in-law to the United States President Donald Trump. And that automatically makes him a bad guy, right? Right? Because of this presidential connection, because guilt by association, unless it's against them. Experts think the acquisition is unlikely to face any serious opposition from regulators. Silver Lake, on the other hand, is one of the biggest private equity firms in the world. Blah, 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 blah. EA's acquisition might result in censorship, and we don't like that because it's censorship against us. But if it's censorship against anybody else, that's okay. We don't like them, so you can censor them all you want to. The involvement of these companies offers some serious and obvious reasons to be concerned, and even ones that we're going to make up in this article, probably. There are fears that EA becoming privately owned will likely mean more aggressive monetization. I mean, they were going down that route anyway. How could you possibly get more aggressively monetized with an EA sports game? Really? It's going to be just as monetized as it was before. Because EA games, what the formerly known as FIFA game, brings in millions and millions upon, if not billions a year, huh? Y'all give me the numbers in the comment section. I remember hearing a B instead of an M when it came to some of those franchises. Good Lord. Copy, paste, move over here, start over, pay $70 for the game, and then spend hundreds, if not thousands of dollars to get your team up to the point where you can actually compete again. Money, it's a money printing machine. Nothing's going to change. Players of live service games. They've tried. Live service games, if they're popular, if they have an audience, they will succeed. If they don't, they will fail and move on. Look at Anthem. There are also concerns about the fact that the company is being forced to take on $20 billion of debt that, according to the Financial Times, the purchasers are hoping will be earned back through AI-based cost-cutting measures. Speculation again. But beyond that, there are ethical reasons to worry, and they're going to explain to us what those perfectly logical and reasonable ethical reasons are. The PIF is chaired by Prince Mohammed bin Salman, almost said Salmon, who has been blamed for, oh my dear goodness gracious, would you look at that? I don't know if I can, I think I can say it. We're far enough into the video? Almost 8 minutes. The assassination of Washington Post journalist Jamal Khashoggi by the CIA. Blamed by the CIA. Do we trust the CIA? Take it with a grain of salt, but he's got a reputation that precedes him, apparently. According to Eurogamer interview with HRW Saudi Arabia research Joey Shea, quote, "We have found that the Public Investment Fund has contributed to and is responsible for human rights abuses in Saudi Arabia," which they have different rules over there, but let's go ahead and judge them all you want to. This is $1 trillion in Saudi state wealth that should be invested to realize the economic and social rights of Saudi citizens. Nah, they're going to spend it on video games because they care more about video games than their own citizens. Sure, checks out. We've found it's been invested in vanity mega projects inside and outside of the country. In other words, nothing's changing. Saudi Arabia has long criminalized same-sex identities. Yep. And sexual activities. Yep. And President Donald Trump attacked. We're going to use this to grandstand because we don't have any other arguments. And President Donald Trump has attacked LGBTQ plus rights and legal protections. Sure. While EA CEO Andrew Wilson has insisted its, quote, values and commitment to players, bullshit, the money talks, and fans around the world remain unchanged. Liar, we don't know that. How long do you think it's going to be before changes are realized? Is it possible that these people bought the company as a legitimate investment? I kind of wonder about that. Where was I? EA Studios and the likes of Sims 4, that's going away. Mass Effect, Dragon Age is already dead. All of which have contained LGBTQ plus characters. I don't see a problem with LGBT characters as long as they are well written and make sense in the world. It's likely that doing so would incur massive public backlash. Really? I talked about this in a previous video. The only backlash, what backlash? If you think Dragon Age, well, if Dragon Age, the Veilguard was any indication of any sort of backlash that you were going to get from that crowd, that modern audience, if those ideological stories and characters were removed completely from EA, just this massive purge, if you will, from their video games, Dragon Age the Veilguard proved that there would be no backlash because that game sold like dog water. Terrible. It would incur some massive backlash, defeating the purpose of buying this company to improve the country's public perception in the first place. Or, like I said, they pull the ideological nonsense out, they get rid of the activists, and they go back to making fun games, make it fun first, fuckers, with interesting storylines and interesting characters that people can relate to on a more broader spectrum. And who knows? More sales when you appeal to the right audience, the larger demographic that buys your games. Huh. Anyway, this fear hasn't yet been realized because we're just going to speculate for clicks. Kind of like what I'm doing in this video. Oops. But I wouldn't be surprised if we saw more subtle changes in the direction of EA games in the future at a minimum, but we're still going to go off. Storefronts are already censoring games. Oh, really? Taking place in a time where we're also seeing an increased censorship of games, specifically not safe for work games. Oh, now you care about that. itch.io and Steam wasn't attacked by the Saudi princes. They were attacked by Visa and MasterCard and collective slags in Australia, that little feminist activist group that wants to force their own personal beliefs on what is and isn't good that you, as a paying customer, can participate in. They went after, since Steam told them to, kick rocks, they had to go after the payment processors. So I don't see any sort of correlation between the EA purchase and what they're talking about here. UK's Online Safety Act, that was a mistake in and of itself. In order to comply with the regulations, two posts that host adult games that should still be allowed to host adult games, because let adults entertain themselves. While not safe for work, games and queer game. Interesting how you separated those two. Are far from, far from synonymous. Censorship is a slippery slope. Look at you admitting you're saying the quiet parts out loud. Where were you year after year after year when people were getting shut down, canceled, in a sense, censored, when video games were changed, remakes were changed to suit the modern audience and the modern sensibilities? Where were your articles, The Gamer? You kept your mouth shut. You kept silent. But now that it could be possibly happening to your modern audience ideological niche, now you care. Interesting how that works every single time. Slippery nature of the company guidelines and rules means that vague definitions like adult content can easily be reinterpreted in line with pressure from external groups, something that we have been saying this for a decade. Queer content can too easily begin to be considered adult. It should always be considered adult. Period. It is adult content. Queer content should be considered adult content. Just like Cyberpunk 2077 should always be considered adult content because of the nature of the genre. Many countries, my own Singapore included, give movies containing homosexual relationships higher age ratings than those without, even when there's no sexual content included. Well, some of those countries find your choice of lifestyle to be abhorrent. I'm sorry to hear that. It is what it is. But unfortunately, not every country in the world feels the same way as everyone else. pluses and minuses. Sucks to be you. I mean, I'm not trying to downplay it or anything. Sorry. Enough of that ramble. There's no mistaking it's a bad time to be making queer games not safe for work or not. It's a bad time to be making any sort of not safe for work games. What makes you think, why is it a bad time for making queer games? This doesn't make sense to me. You still have the popular games for that audience. If you have an audience and you make those games for that audience, your game will sell. I don't think it's going to have a $200 million budget, so you have the opportunity to make money. I see this article as being massively hyperbolic. The sky is not falling on the genre, just like the video game industry is not crashing and burning, maybe for the big budget AAA studio, AAA price tag, maybe going the way of the dodo, and I'm all for it. The independent scene is flourishing, blowing up in ways that I have not seen in decades, and I'm here for it. So if you think, I mean, already queer games is a bit of an indie scene niche audience anyway, so I can't imagine anything bad happening. Unless, of course, EA shuts down BioWare. That would be terrible, because then they couldn't make another slop, nonsensical, preachy, ideologically driven, bash you over the head with the message video game, like some other games that they put out there. Maybe put out a game with good dialogue, good storytelling, good world building, and you might make money. But anyway, panic, scream, holler, run and hide and panic. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Leave a like, leave a dislike, do all those nifty little things that YouTube is making you do, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye!